folks. This is Lose Control every Wednesday between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. only on 93.3 CFMU. You can also hear us online by doing this. You get your mouse, you put it into the cursor part of your search engine, and you type msu.mcmaster.ca. That's what you type. And then, lo and behold, we're in your face. Folks, talking about being in your face, Manolis is here, and Manolis has brought a friend of his as well. Manolis, now this is the part of the interview.
I'm ready, dude. I'm ready.
We talked about this. We rehearsed this. Manolis, introduce your friend.
To the right of me is my buddy Jordan Scherer.
Hi, Jordan.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
He is a comedian, a good friend of mine. He has his own radio show also on the station.
Yes.
What was it, Comedy Hour?
Yeah, the Hamilton Comedy Hour, 3 to 4 on Fridays.
Yeah, and I also do a podcast with him, Girls Night Out podcast. I would say he's a very good friend of mine. And we were very lucky that he was able to come and help us out today.
You know what? When Manolis calls, people answer. That's the one thing. You know,
if it's a girl, then never.
When you call men, we answer.
When men always answer me. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. You have that touch.
You're a man magnet.
Yeah, I am.
And look at the beard on you.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It is looking good. It's got that dusted gray, but just enough to look distinguished and nice.
Yes.
So my friend told me, it's like, oh, look, you got gray in your beard. I go, yeah, it means I'm dying. Like, everybody always thinks like they're making fun of you, like, oh, you're getting old. No, it's just a sign of death. That's it.
We're going to try to hook up with Ben. He's taking care of business. He's working. What
is he doing?
He's part of CMW, the Canadian Music Week, so he's he's involved with that as well. He's working in peddling the beer. He's Piston Head beer rep here in Hamilton, so I know he's busy taking care of business. So we're going to try to hook up with him this afternoon. This is what we know for sure. Steve Strongman's going to be calling here in about 5 minutes. He has a show that's happening at the Molson Studio Theater that is happening Friday night. We're going to spin some music and also talk to him, spin some new music from Steve Strongman. As well, we're going to talk to Jeff Pavir, the gentleman who wrote a book called Gods on the Hammer, a book about Teenage Head. Tomorrow night they're doing the book launch at the Great Hall on Queen Street West in Toronto, and Friday night you can see him at the Saint with a whole cast of guest musicians, which we will share with you during the program, as well as playing some music from Teenage Head. Our friend Rob Sweeney gives us the MP3 of the week, and this one is a special one. It's dear to him because it's his song.
Oh.
It's his song.
What?
Yes.
This guy gives us a MP3 of the week every week. The songs he recommends us to play, right?
And to listen to and enjoy.
What's this dude's name again?
Rob Sweeney.
Rob Sweeney.
Yeah,
Sweeney.
or Sweeney if you want.
Sweeney. So I don't even know who this guy is. Like,
You've met him before.
Have I met him?
I think you have.
I don't even know. Why
are you raising your voice?
Because now you're telling me he's a musician?
He's always been a musician.
Why didn't I would have liked to know this years ago.
He's playing in Tung Fu.
Oh, he's a member of Tung Fu?
Yes!
We've actually promoted Tung Fu on the podcast before.
I have, actually.
Yeah. Thank you.
Did I tell you that? No.
No.
At the end of every Girls Night Out podcast, I will give one person a shout out and saying check them out.
Oh, thank you.
You got one.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And Rob Sweeney got it too, apparently.
Not his name right, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Rob Sweeney is how we're going to address him today because you know what?
Say it again?
Sweeney.
Sweeney. You're putting a sh on it.
Yeah.
Sweeney.
Yeah.
There you go. Rob Sweeney.
You go for a swim. You don't go for a schwim.
Sweeney. Rob Sweeney.
There you go.
Of course it's
Say Rob.
Rob.
Again?
Rob.
Okay, you got that right too.
Sweeney.
Right.
I'm
Sweeney.
impressed.
Yeah.
That's good.
And a whole bunch of music. Keep those requests coming. It's awesome to see that you people have great taste in music. And we're going to take care of some of those today, including some music from The Damned, music from Cheap Trick's first album, and a whole bunch of other goodies as well. In the meantime, we'll start it off with some music from a gentleman that you can see here in Hamilton, October 23rd, John Otway, from his greatest hits. Here's a song called Beware of the Flowers on 93.3 CFMU. 93.3 CFMU, music there from John Otway from his greatest hits. You heard Beware of the Flowers. 3:17 on the button. On the line with us right now, as promised, is Steve Strongman. Steve, how you doing this afternoon, buddy?
Awesome, Lou. How How are you?
I'm doing well. I know you're busy. You're kind enough to take a little bit of time out of your afternoon to talk to us. Say hello to Manolis as well as Jordan, two gentlemen that are co-hosting with me today.
Manolis, Jordan, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Fantastic.
Great.
Congratulations on your newest record. Let me prove it to you.
Thank you.
I was listening to it a lot over the weekend, and everyone knows that you're an ace in the blues scene. But this particular record just seems to have definitely an elevation from your last couple of releases. I think for me, as of listening to it, I just noticed a lot more confidence. Am I right in that?
Oh, well, I'm glad it comes across like that. I guess so. I really wanted to make, after the success of my last CD, A Natural Fact, which was, as you know, mostly an acoustic record, it seemed like I really wanted to do an electric record, a really fun record, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Was there a reason why you wanted to do an acoustic record and then spring into an electric record?
I just kind of felt like back then doing an acoustic record because I was mostly, and still am, known as a predominantly electric artist, and the acoustic stuff was always really important to me, and I always loved it, so it just made sense for me at that time to do it.
Your recognition nationally right now in the blues world is definitely, really, really strong nationally. But tell us a little bit from Steve Strongman's point of view what the climate of the blues scene in Canada is like right now.
Oh, it's fantastic. Over the past few years, a few Canadians have had great success going down into Memphis to this thing called the International Blues Challenge.
Yes.
I went down there in, I think it was maybe even 2010, and the buzz south of the border was just how much talent was coming out of Canada in terms of blues and roots music and everything, really, but mostly blues in particular was really what most people were talking about. So, I mean, there's lots of great bands, and I really kind of feel that there always has been, but I think now people are just starting to take notice a little bit more.
Is it just because that is it mainly our fault as a country that we're not doing enough to promote it?
I don't know if I'd say it's our fault and that we're not doing enough to promote it. It's, blues is a niche market, let's face it, right? And like any niche market, it has its diehard fans. And sometimes people just want to kind of keep things in a little box. They want to have blues and it goes here. But hopefully artists like myself and a whole bunch of other great Canadian artists are doing our best to break out of that.
You recorded this record, the last one, Let Me Prove It to You, with Dave King.
I did some stuff with Dave. Yeah, Dave's all over the record. Dave and I have been working together. We've been playing music together for almost 20 years now, but working seriously together like on my career for about the past 8. Mm-hmm. And Dave also had produced me previously on Blues in Color, an album that I did, and Live at the Barn DVD up at Dave's place.
Yeah.
And that also was a live record, too. On my last release, A Natural Fact, and on this last one, Let Me Prove It to You, they were both produced by Rob Zabo. Mm-hmm. And, I kind of leaned pretty heavily on all my friends, of course, Dave being one of them, that they're just great, talented musicians, and it seemed to make sense for me to stick with the guys that have been there with me since really the beginning.
How long did it take you as an artist to really feel confident as a blues musician? You came out of a rock pop band, Plasticine, years ago.
Yeah.
And then you ventured off and been very consistent and been diligent in the whole blues direction.
Yeah, that's a really good question because a lot of people don't realize this. What I had initially started with was as a blues lover. When I was like 15, 16 years old, I loved blues, but I loved all these different styles of music. As you mentioned, original pop rock being one of the main things that I really got behind. And for me, when I decided about 8 years ago when I put out my first record, Honey, I decided that it was time for me to return to my blues roots, kind of. And, I really love it, and that's where I feel at home, but everything to me sounds like blues. Even elements of some of the newer songs that I'm playing now. There's some pop influence there. There's a little bit of everything. There's some roots in there. So to me, it's all blues. 3:21 here at 93.3 CFMU. Steve Strongman's our special guest. We're talking about his newest record, Let Me Prove It to You. You can see Steve Friday night at the Molson Canadian Studio Theatre, or the Molson Studio Theatre here in Hamilton. We were talking last week about the show, and I was ecstatic to get your record. And since I've been listening to it, I've not only have I noticed that there's a lot of confidence in Steve Strongman, but there seems to be a lot of confidence in your players that are working with you as well. That you're able to get some real slingers, guys like Alec Fraser. Yeah, Alec and I, we met. You're right. Everybody on the record is they did such an amazing job. And Alec and I met when I was a special guest of Jeff Healy's at Healy's Club in Toronto, and we hit it off immediately as soon as we met. And Alec plays with a lot of different artists, but I try and get him as much as I can, and he's been on my last 2 records, and I'm lucky to have him whenever I can get him.
The interesting thing about the blues genre is that not like country, where country there's kind of a stigma that goes along with new country, which is really not liked by a lot of the purists. But you don't really get that in blues, where new blues is still admired by a lot of the old guys or a lot of the blues purists. Why is that, do you find?
Well, I think especially with blues, you're right. In any genre of music, I think there's purists there. I don't really subscribe to that line of thinking in terms of purists. It doesn't matter to me what it is. It's like you got to have an open mind, and I think if something's good, it's good, and I think people will hopefully gravitate towards it. Blues is definitely like that. Plus, because blues, I think it came up from the South and the States, and we all know the history of where it came from. I really think that there has to be some truth in an artist if you're going to put yourself into the blues world. And I didn't know what it was like for those guys who were growing up in the old days in the South, right? So I try and bring my perspective on what it is for blues for me. For being a relatively younger guy, not as young as I used to be, but a younger guy coming up in Canada, what blues is like, and I write from personal experience.
It seems in Hamilton right now that blues is really spread demographically. Like you get young guys like Sean Lesage that are doing shows all over the city, and he's just a young guy. And you get guys like Ian Andrews that are kind of getting into the blues and rockabilly. But it just seems that people are really admiring the blues, and it's great to see younger blood that are starting with it and feeling confident about that as well.
I agree. I think part of the key of what keeps blues going is that young lifeblood and younger artists getting in. I know that because I used to be one of them, right? And to have that kind of support and that tightly knit group, especially in blues on a national level, everyone is so incredibly supportive. You've got blues communities everywhere, and they like to see young, talented people coming up in blues, and I think we have to continue to support that.
I guess that's so inspirational too, as a young musician. And I guess if you're speaking for yourself, when you first started getting into the blues and started networking with a lot of the blues community, instead of people being somewhat apprehensive, they're helping you instead.
Absolutely, I was certainly no stranger to getting a lot of help. I was growing up in Kitchener. It turned out to be sort of a musical hotbed for blues artists in particular, largely due to Mel Brown living there and coming out of there. And if I didn't have so many places to play, who knows what would have happened for me. But it was really, really supportive, and I noticed the exact same type of support when I moved to Hamilton. I'm
drawing a blank right now, Steve, but what was the infamous blues club that Glenn had?
It was called Pop the Gator.
Pop the Gator, of course.
That's right, yeah, and I used to sneak into that place to go and see amazing blues artists, some of which I've been very fortunate enough to recently open for and tell them the stories about how I used to climb up the fire escape to go in and see them. I played with Duke Robillard and Ronnie Earl and Kim Wilson and a whole bunch of guys like that, and they love hearing that story. But no, it was a really amazing place for me to grow up, and I think that those stories they go across a lot of different styles of music, not just blues, and we got to keep that going.
I kind of wonder if that whole era was documented, because, like you said, there was a lot of great talent that played that bar.
Yeah, the Gator there is. In particular, there's a wonderful documentary that's just coming out about Mel Brown, and it has a very serious focus on Kitchener, but the Gator, I think Glenn should probably put something out, because I opened up for Otis Clay.
Wow.
When I was about, I don't know, I think that was in 1992, if I'm not mistaken. So he had pretty much anybody who was in the blues musical world was touring. They came through the Gator in Kitchener.
Nice. Mind if I ask you about the title of your last record? Was that kind of a tongue-in-cheek sort of thing, or perhaps a statement of Steve Strongman being validated?
Lou, that's great that you asked me that. A lot of people have been asking me that question, and it kind of was. It was a bit of a statement, and it is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I think it's the name of one of the songs on the record. But, I still get surprised when I've had a pretty amazing year. I won the Juno last year, and I opened up for B.B. King and Buddy Guy and Johnny Winter, and sometimes I still get people coming up and they're like, I've never heard of you, right? So that was a little bit like, let me prove it to you. Like, I'm out here working as hard as I possibly can, and I'm just going to keep doing it, and hopefully I can prove it.
I should say, and pardon me for not saying it earlier, congratulating you on your Juno. Has life changed on a 9-to-5 basis for Steve Strongman because of that?
I wouldn't say, on a daily basis if it's changed, but I think
in terms of perspective of just having more opportunities now that other markets are recognizing you.
Yeah, I think it has definitely. Anytime you can get that kind of recognition from your home country to win the greatest musical honor that you can, I think that can't help necessarily, but carry over a little bit. Mm-hmm. But in terms of what I'm doing, none of us as artists ever step out to try and win awards and accolades. We just do what we do because we love it and we believe in it. But it's definitely opened a few doors.
Steve, would you say that blues is still a genre of music that you more or less, the artist can call the shot in terms of what they want to do versus having an industry type saying, no, don't do this, or perhaps prep your music differently?
I think so, probably more so, certainly than other genres of music, the pop world and even the country world, like you mentioned earlier. There's a lot more, we'll call it sort of pressure on them to sound a certain way if they want to have any degree of success. I think that, for blues, again, because it is a bit more of a niche market, the artist, in today's day and age, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. You have all these ways to get your music out there, social media and everything, and you can retain whatever it is that you want to do with your music.
The very first time I interviewed you when I was at Mohawk, we talked about Black Sabbath. Years later, we talk about Otis Clay.
That's pretty amazing. I'm impressed that you remember that, actually, because I remember that.
Yeah, I wasn't going to forget that.
And we should still be talking about Black Sabbath. There's a great blues band right there.
Yeah, you're sure right on that. Did you see them last time they were here in Hamilton?
Unfortunately, I was on the road and I couldn't make it, but I heard it was fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't go. I was busy, and then we were at the bar, so I missed it. But I heard the same thing. Actually, Manolis went to see Sabbath.
Manolis, how was it?
It was amazing. I was I love Sabbath and I love Ozzy, but I'm not I'm not one of those guys that know everything about them. I'm not a diehard fan. So just as a guy, just like, oh yeah, my buddy had a ticket. He wanted me to go, and I went, and I was like, this is unreal. Yeah, you really actually start to see where a lot of more current artists are drawing from when you see Black Sabbath. That's for sure. Yeah, I saw Black Sabbath one time. Well, I was like with Ronnie James Dio, and I was lucky to. My buddy knew a guy, a roadie, so he got us backstage to meet Dio, and we were walking to meet Dio after. It was in Finland, and on the way we walked by. Is it Tony Iommi? Iommi, thank you. So he was in another room, and I saw it was kind of an open door, and I saw him, and I had that moment like, should I try to say hi? And I panicked. I actually freaked out. I couldn't do it.
I love those moments where you still kind of get starstruck. I mean, that's the reason why we love music, right?
That's exactly the reason why we love music, and that's a great story. And those are the things that you remember too, right? But I would say more often than not, at least it's been my experience with artists that are on that level, they're all so cool and so down to earth and just amazing people.
I know, he probably would have been, and I'm like, I ran away like a little schoolgirl.
I think that has a lot to do with longevity in people's careers in this kind of lifestyle, in this kind of industry. I think if you're, sort of a quote-unquote normal person, then you just get to see the normal world and have longevity.
I agree. Yeah, like I said earlier, I opened for B.B. King. He's 88 years old. And I sat around chatting with B.B. King for like half an hour after the show, and I was
how was that?
In awe.
No kidding.
Oh man,
was it more like just him talking, and you're like, please talk more?
You know what? He's such a gracious person, and he's really brought this. This has been something that he's done all across his career. He was just sitting there saying, do you have any questions for me? What do you want to talk about? Do you have anything that you'd like to ask me about?
Now, I know Manolis would say, are you B.B. King the musician or B.B. King the bar owner?
You know what I want to know?
Oh, right.
About B.B. King?
What?
I heard he has, do you know how many kids he has?
11.
Oh, 11.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was more than that.
No, I think it's 11.
Oh, 11's not enough, Manolis?
Yeah.
Well, if I was B.B. King, I'd have 100 kids, man.
Yeah.
He almost has a Steve Martin movie already.
Yeah. It was funny. In trying to make conversation with B.B. King, I said, B.B., this summer I played with your daughter, Shirley. Shirley King is a great singer, and she's B.B.'s daughter. And I said, I played with your daughter, Shirley. And he just kind of looked at me and he said, Shirley doesn't really want to talk to me right now. And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, next question. Yeah, that's funny. Steve, if people want to get more information from you, best pages, best websites, best info?
Yeah, they can go to stevestrongman.com and all ticket links there. I've got a whole bunch of CD release shows booked around the area, but of course, as you mentioned, most importantly, Friday night right here in the Hammer. I'm really looking forward to it. Congratulations
on all your hard work. I know that you're continuing to just like escalate as an artist as well as a musician in the blues genre, and we're really lucky to have you as a Hamiltonian representing us, and as well, you're just proving to the rest of the country and the world about all the cool things that are happening in our city musically, Steve. Thank you so much. You're a really good diplomat for us. Oh, thank you very much. I'm certainly very proud of it, and Hamilton's been so good to me. I just we're screaming from the rooftops how great Hamilton is. You've got a great record, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really, really like it. It's a really, really strong record, and you should really be proud of it. I appreciate that so much. Thanks for having me on, Lou. Yeah, my pleasure. Please say hi to Dave King. I will say hi. And will you do me a favor? Yes. Okay. You'll have to ask them this off air, but we had a little bit of a musical psychology sort of lesson between Dave King and I at the bar maybe about a half a year ago. Okay. And I explained to him the reason why a 6-piece band is better than a 5-piece band, and he'll give you the answer as to why. Okay? I will ask him that. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Congratulations on your CD release party happening Friday night. You can see Steve Strongman at the Molson Studio Theater here in downtown Hamilton. For more information, visit Steve Strongman online, as well as visiting the venue website for more information on getting your tickets. Enjoy the rest of your day, Steve. Okay, thanks so much, Lou. Take care, man. We'll talk to you real soon, okay? All right, thanks. Take care, guys. Okay, bye-bye now. What a beautiful guy, eh? Yeah. Just a really, really nice guy. A guy that's worked hard and continues to work hard and show his true colors about what he's all about. And in the meantime, he's still becoming a prolific original artist, putting out original music. Well, I think when you just do what you want to do, if you're just enjoying what you do, everything else comes when it just comes. You're not worried about it. That's why he keeps making good music, right? And he's making the music that he wants to make, and he's very passionate about it. And like you heard him say, he won a Juno because of this, so it's all working out well for him. So, onwards and up for Steve. Just hearing him talk about, like, the blues and stuff like that, he clearly knows so much about it that he's, like, worried about, like, making good music instead of just being a blues musician, which I think a lot of people are more worried about, like, just looking cool. I haven't met him, but it seems like he's really, like, actually passionate about his music. Yeah, Manolis, can you just ask your friend to leave for a minute? I'd like to. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're bang on, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, you could really tell, no matter who you are, you can always kind of gauge a person's sincerity. It doesn't matter what they're doing, whether they're selling a car to you or whether they're trying to sell you a record. If they're really sincere about it, you feel it and you hear it, and you can also sense it. And that's the same way it is with Strongman. We wish him the best on the release of this new record. Let me prove it to you. Here's some music from Steve's new record. You can see him Friday night at the Studio Theater here in downtown Hamilton. You're listening to Steve Strongman on 93.3 CFMU. 93.3 CFMU, music there from Steve Strongman from his newest record, Let Me Prove It To You. There's something going on, available on Sonic Onion Records. You can see Steve Friday night at the Molson Studio Theater. The show will definitely sell out, so if there are any tickets left, you better get them right now. 3:40 exactly. Manolis sitting with me, as well as my new friend, Jordan.
Scherer. I can say his name.
Yeah, no, it's Scherer.
Jordan Scherer.
That
was a good song.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I can tell because
you start bopping.
Yeah, you like it. I watch you.
Do you?
Yeah, you're you're a barometer.
I can feel it.
That I watch you.
I can feel you like the way like hot girls feel like you creeping looks at them when they're
like what?
Like you ever see a hot girl and you look at her too long and then you're shooting.
You feel that's the way I look at you. Like I look at you like you're a hot girl.
Then you can feel
Oh, wow.
That they can feel that they're looking at you too long.
Yeah.
That's what I'm a hot chick, and I can feel you looking at me.
Yeah.
I'm an ugly hot chick.
Yeah. I'm just not too sure what I'm looking at.
I think the same way.
Have you ever done anything that makes you feel kind of weird after you've done it? Like, professionally?
Usually, I usually pull out just to be safe.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Gord Lewis and I didn't have the chance to pull out of anything because we got invited to do a pre-recorded interview, Why 108 in support of the Gods of the Hammer. We're going to talk to Jeff Pavir in about a half hour or so. So Ben from the morning show was kind enough to have us in to do a little segment, and he's got this ongoing segment where he invites his guests over to do passages from 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
Okay. So I haven't read the book, but I know enough about the book that it seems like if you're a lady 30 and over, you gravitate to this book. It's like something that kind of takes you into fantasy land. So Ben got us reading these little passages in support of this little thing that he's going on. It's almost kind of his little ongoing radio drama. So he's had Rick Samprin, who does the play-by-play for the Tie Cats. He's been on it. I think one of the guys from Big B Comics has been on it as well. And so now Gordy was on it, and that was kind of his, sidekick on it. So we had to read these passages, and it was like after we were done, I grew up as a Catholic, altar boy. So that was the first thing that kind of filtered through my mind and my head was like, wow, I don't think I really liked what I just read, right? Not because I didn't like it was just because it felt kind of weird just reading the context of it. And the context of it was pretty dirty. It was like
dirty stuff.
It was dirty stuff, but it was like playing on me.
What is 50 Shades of Grey?
Erotica. Like erotic fiction.
Yeah.
Is it for girls or something?
It's porno reading.
For girls or?
For you.
You could read it if you wanted to.
Would it be like a forum magazine kind of thing?
No, it's not it's a book.
Yeah, but was it like that? Like you ever read like forum?
Oh, forum. I thought you said foreign.
Forum.
Yeah. So it would be like a long version of forum.
Like 300 pages of
300
form.
300 pages?
Like
Is that many pages?
Yeah, it's going to take you forever to read it.
The way chapter even.
But anyways, it was enjoyable, and I heard it this morning. But I mean, I was having second thoughts about it last night, thinking about
You felt dirty?
Well, I kind of felt dirty.
In
like
a good
it was like,
way?
wow, I can't believe we read it.
But in a good way?
I don't know. That's what I mean. I don't know if it was in a good way or if it was in a bad way. But I know it was that Ben McVie. He's a monster. He's a monster.
I have to get this book.
Yeah.
You should get it. I'll read it to
or,
you.
Can I have my pants
Manolis
off?
is sitting down. You're in his room, on a chair beside him, just reading.
Where's your tissues?
Yeah. Not for tears, right?
Well, I'll be crying.
So
tears,
please let me go.
I'm going to make you watch.
Speaking of the literary world, we lost an iconic Canadian author, Farley Mowat.
Oh my God.
Yeah, died today. Okay, we rehearsed this as well earlier. I was going to say.
You wanted me to pretend I knew who he was.
Yeah, he didn't know who Farley Mowat was. So I said, we can't go on radio and have you not know who Farley Mowat is.
But you blew it. Oh my God, it was believable.
We started laughing.
Let's try it again. Go.
We lost an iconic Canadian author today. At the age of 92, Farley Mowat passed away.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you a big fan?
That's all I read.
Yeah. Never Cry Wolf?
I'll always cry wolf.
Right. Yeah. That was the other book. But yeah, it's kind of sad. But you're looking at it, 92 years, he's lived a good life.
92. That's well, why we shouldn't even bring it up. He won the lottery. 92 is amazing.
Recognized all over the world for his work.
That's amazing. How did he live in the 92?
By living.
That's great, man. That's a great run.
Yeah.
Was he all together too?
Yeah, all together. I had the chance to meet him. I think 1978, 79. I was a teenager. 14,
you met him?
15. Yeah.
Where'd you meet him?
At the library. No, seriously, he did a meet and greet. He did a meet and greet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were just like trying to get a book.
Yeah.
And like,
Hey,
oh my
wait
God.
a minute, what are you doing here?
Dude.
Are you putting books away? Your book? Yeah.
Putting his books to the front.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Did he sign
Front
your
right.
book? What book did he sign?
The Dog Who Wouldn't Be. Mutt.
And what kind of books are these?
Well, they're
What happens in these books?
all sorts of
I
stuff.
don't read anything, so you have to explain.
Well, watch the movie Never Cry Wolf.
Never Cry Wolf?
That was based on a Farley Mowat movie.
Okay.
Or a Farley Mowat book. But he wrote about a lot of Canadiana things. So when you read his books, you can almost like, taste the water of the lakes. You know what I mean? Like there's something that's really realistic about it. And he was a great author. And we're very, again, proud to have Farley Mowat.
Did he say anything to you? Like, what did you have like a brief conversation with him when you got to meet him? Like,
he said, "Let me guess, you're a Teenage Het fan, right?" And I said, "Yeah, man." He said, "You want to go out back and just roll one?" And no, nothing like that. It's Farley Mowat.
No, but did you have like a brief conversation with him?
I just said hi. Yeah, I kind of like, I was goofy. I was a little kid, right? I was totally impressionable. I kind of starstruck, but I remember taking a book that I read when I was even much younger, but it was a book that I really loved a lot. So I brought it in, and actually I had 2 copies of it. I had a hard copy and a soft copy of it, and hard copy and soft cover of it.
Soft cover, okay.
And paperback would be the other way of putting it.
And like someone's listening going, but what about paperback?
Yeah. Is that what he means? Oh,
that's
he
another way of
does mean
saying
paperback.
it. Oh, thank God he said that.
So anyways, I got these 2 signed, and nothing. He just kind of acknowledged you. Hello, how are you? Kind of something like that. But nothing that was really iconic about it. Not like Gordie Howe, who put, when I got my autograph, he grabbed his marker and put a little black dot right on my nose. And I didn't want to wash my face because I wanted to go to school. Who did that? Gordie Howe.
Okay.
He signed something for me, and then he, with his
he
magic
dotted
marker,
it with your nose, basically.
No. He signed. He signed like I had a couple of. There was a hockey program as well as a couple of hockey cards because he played in the WHA as well, right? So he signed a couple of hockey cards. He signed this hockey program that they were giving out. And after he signed it, for whatever reason, he instead of putting like the cap back on or the lid back onto the Sharpie, and that actually it was way before Sharpie, so the magic marker, the ones that got you high from just smelling
it,
those, right?
I still do that.
So he, instead of like just putting the cap back and giving me the marker, he put a little dot on my nose. And then he put the cap back on the marker, and I was just, I was stunned. I was freaked. I was like, "Oh my God, Gordie Howe put this dot on my nose."
Should have got it tattooed.
I tried so hard to keep it like there till Monday.
Ruin your life.
I think it was a Saturday morning or something like that. He was in Oshawa, and he was at one of the arenas. And I tried so hard to just to keep it so,
How long did it last?
Oh,
A week?
No. I think it was like faint by Monday. My mom wouldn't let me go around with a stupid.
Of course,
black,
your mom wouldn't let you do that. She's like, "What are you,
she
an
didn't
idiot?"
care. Gordie Howe, whatever.
Yeah.
She really. But I had this little dark nose spot on my nose because of Gordie Howe. So that was sort of like,
I remember like when I was like, I think I was like 15 or 16. I had all these like posters on my wall. Mm-hmm. Like Iron Maiden, AC/DC, and all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. My mom, one day come down, they're all on. She ripped them all off the ground.
I put them in her room.
Yeah, I put her in her room.
Did you ask her why?
She said, well, yeah. I said, why would you rip these posters off the wall?
Yeah,
right. These are my favorite bands. Still a lot of my favorite bands, and she's like, because she thought it was like the devil.
Oh,
it was all about all this stuff had to do with the devil, and that I was going to be possessed by the devil.
Although she didn't know she gave birth to the devil.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. She'd be ripping you off the wall, Mom.
Yeah, look what you did. But what you did.
I had that moment, like, wow, like it's like up to that. Like I thought my parents were like
they didn't care about you.
Well,
or weren't
normal.
paying attention.
Not like now. That's when you start to go. Oh, some people are a little crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's just like I remember thinking in my head, I was like, it's just a picture of a guy holding a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right.
That's like, But, I could see the Iron Maiden one a little bit more. That seems a little bit more crazy with Eddie.
Oh,
Pascal,
right.
But
did your Poison poster stay on your wall?
yeah, Poison she was fine with. She had a crush on Bret Michaels.
350, folks. Here's some music from David Johansen on 93.3 CFMU. 93.3 CFMU, the music of the incredible Rocky Erickson from Don't Slander Me. You heard the title track, Don't Slander Me. Before that, Cheap Trick from their debut record, simply entitled Cheap Trick, with a song called He's a Hooer. We'll send that out to my friend Manolis. And,
Yeah, you're thinking.
It's kind of like an autobiography. I'm thinking, yeah. And before that, David Johansen from Here Comes the Night, and you heard the title track, Here Comes the Night. 3:59 and change. We're going to spin the MP3 of the week shortly. Also want to remind you that we're going to talk to Jeff Pavir, the gentleman who is the author of Gods of the Hammer, a book written about Teenage Head, tomorrow night at the Great Hall on 1067, 1067, Queen Street West. That's where Teenage Head's going to be playing with a great group of musicians, including Cheetah Chrome from the Dead Boys fame, as well as Rocket from the Tombs. Ivan Doroshuk, who is the lead singer of Men Without Hats. Remember the safety dance? You can dance if you want to.
Leave your friends behind.
Yeah.
If friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, they're no friends of mine.
Not that one, but another. Yeah, that one.
That one?
Yeah. So he's going to be taking part. Nick Sewell from Biblical. John Kastner of the Doughboys fame is also taking part in it. Mickey Skin of The Curse. Steve Stumble of the Sick Boys and currently the Lucky Ones. Steve Saint is also going to be part of it. I heard that there might be a special guest from the 222s that are also going to be coming in. Caffeine, who is a French-Canadian rock and roll musician. He's also going to sing a bunch of songs, or sing a couple of songs. All these musicians are going to take part in singing Teenage Head songs and in celebrating the book. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk more to Jeff Pavir about that as well in about
What?
a minute or so. Rob Sweeney.
Rob Sweeney.
Yeah.
Sweeney.
Sweeney, yeah.
Get it right, man.
Yeah, yes. Pardon me. We're going to spin the MP3 of the week, and I'm just going to dial up his little
song.
note. Yes, and this one.
He's in your band too. You know that?
He's got his own band too, and he was in other bands before. Actually, his band called Durango 95. Their debut album was called Lose Control.
Really?
Yeah. Now they spelt it like you lose it, right?
Oh, Lose Control.
LOSE. And I just kind of, the play on words, kind of respecting the record, paying homage to that record, I went Lose Control, LOU''S.
Oh, is that how you came up with the name?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Because of Rob Sweeney.
Rob Sweeney, man.
Wow.
This guy's
Center
everywhere.
of the universe. He is. He's iconic. He's an enigma.
I just love the name of your bar too. That it was Forgotten Rebels name of it. Forgotten Rebels album.
Glenn
too.
the Hamilton Kid, my business partner. I remember we were in his living room, or no, actually in his kitchen, and it was before the bar was going to open, and we were still kind of deciding. Like we all had these real personal favorites, you know. I had three that I wanted to call it. The first one was Top Down.
Okay.
Which was a Teenage Head song. Another one was The Moon Upstairs, which is a Mott the Hoople song. And another one was called The Red and the Black, which is a Blue Oyster Cult song.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. And Go Girl Crazy. Those were the four, which
Okay.
is a Dictators album. Which kind of basically, you know, kind of sums up everything that I'm about musically, figuring those. And then Glenn also had a couple of ideas. So we were just kind of going back and forth like, yeah, that's pretty good. But, and then finally out of nowhere, Glenn said, this ain't Hollywood. And it just stuck. You know, it was just like, perfect. Yeah, this ain't Hollywood.
You just instantly knew that was what you
It
guys...
just sounded so good.
It is a great name.
I mean, thank the Forgotten Rebels for the name. Thank Glenn for, you know, that sort of brainy moment of coming out and saying it. But it was just the way he blurted it. It just sounded like a great name for a
There's
bar.
a great. I mean, is Mickey right?
Mickey.
He tells a great. Is it him that tells that story about how the name came to be? Like this ain't Hollywood.
Yeah, actually, you'll have to talk to Mickey about it because he's got a great story. But one of the funny things that I remember is there was a band that was touring called Liars, not the Old Liars, Lyres, but Liars. They played the bar about 3-4 years ago, and we were all backstage, and Mickey comes over backstage to say hello. And Mickey's got carte blanche. Like, you know, Mickey and Gordy, they're like two guys in the bar that they can walk anywhere and do anything, and they've got immunity, right? So Mickey walks in to say hello to me in the backstage area, in the back room, and one of the guys from the band goes, "Hey man, who are you?" And Mickey says, "Who am I? I'm the guy that these guys named their bar after." They put that, you know, I put a record out called This Ain't Hollywood. That's who I am, right? So they're like, and then they knew, it was like, "Are you in the Forgotten Rebels?" Because this band knew the Forgotten Rebels, right? So it was immediately funny how this American band knew of the Rebels.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. They never had seen the Rebels, but they had heard, and I think one of the guys in the band had a couple of their records, but they got to meet Mickey, and not knowing that it was Mickey from the Rebels. But it was just funny. It's like, "Who am I? I'm the guy that these guys named their bar after."
Yeah, easy, you know? Buddy.
Yeah. What are you doing here in my backstage area?
Actually, you leave.
Yeah. So, if the walls could talk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just blessed with all sorts of kind of things like that. But yeah, so you'll have to thank Glenn, my business partner and friend, for This Ain't Hollywood, because it definitely has become such an iconic name, you know, in so many ways. But it's just such a cool name too, because it's always promoting that great Forgotten Rebels record too.
When the name of an album could be the name of like a bar or like say a band, like that's how great, like that says a lot about the band itself. Like I always thought like Appetite for Destruction from Guns N' Roses, like Appetite for Destruction is such a great
name for a salad.
Yeah. Or a morning.
Yeah. Well, or a name for a child. Transformers Zontanos.
Transformers Zontanos.
That has a nice ring to it.
You know what? I'm doing it. I'm going to make a baby now.
You've got
ladies, start running.
I have a plan, right? All right, MP3 of the week time. This is what Robbie says. "Hello, Lou. One of the best things about being the guy that sends in the MP3 of the week is getting to do some of my own self-promotion. Here is one, fresh off the table, recorded by me. A song called Hamperella, The Good Witch. Folks, from Robert Sweeney, this is your MP3 of the week. .93.3 CFMU, folks. That is your MP3 of the week, courtesy of our friend Rob Sweeney. You heard Rob Sweeney doing Hamperella, The Good Witch. Thank you very much, Robbie, and we'll look forward to the next one next week. Right, Manolis?
Yeah, it was, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an awesome song.
How you doing on your math there?
My math?
So you carry the one.
I'm just trying to figure out how to do this. I'm trying to tweet something for Tom Green.
Right. Tom Green is where this weekend?
He's going to be at Yuck Yucks this weekend.
Or is it Dish Weekend?
No, this weekend.
Okay.
Friday and Saturday, I think 2 shows every night, both nights. And Patrick Coppolino's opening up for him. But it'll be 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Friday.
Patrick Coppolino?
Yep. Patrick Coppolino. But Tom Green's at Yuck Yucks Toronto.
Why are we giggly?
I think
it's like this midweek high that I get with you. I don't know what it is. Because, folks, seriously, we're straight as arrows. But I get this giggly feeling every time I hang out with you. I notice that you're doing something with mousse and your hair.
Oh, yeah, I put mousse in my hair, but then I don't do anything with it. Like, I'm like using mousse to, I'm trying to make it look better, but it ends up I end up looking like a homeless person.
It looks like you put it in right before you went to bed, though.
Someone said it today, yesterday, it's like, "Oh my God, you look so old." Cause when I have the beard, it's got so much gray.
It's called experience.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, I said to him, I'm sorry I have no power over the aging process. I said to him, like, I always think too in my head, like, cause like when you do stand up, people are just constantly comparing. You're like, whoa, how, maybe they remember what you looked like a year ago. Everybody that says that to me looks 10 times worse than I do. Like, what do you mean? You look homeless, man. What are we talking about?
They are
homeless. Or maybe,
yeah. Why are you judging me?
What they're trying to do is tell you in a nice, polite way, see the way I look? You're going to look like me in 10 years.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to tell you, Manolis.
You think I thought I was going to turn out? I thought I was going to be dead by now, man. Like,
I know. You win. Yeah. You surpassed Farley Mowat.
And now it's just gravy.
Now I got to write a book.
Yeah.
That's what I'm planning on doing.
About a cat or a dog or something.
Or both.
Oh, it's really sad.
What?
Farley Mowat.
I can't believe it.
I know.
I was
such
shocked.
an icon. Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
We lost a good one.
We did,
The
for
best.
sure. 410, talking about books, we're going to hook up with Jeff Pavir in about 5 minutes or so. The gentleman responsible for writing Gods of the Hammer, a book about the Teenage Head story. Highly recommend you pick it up. If you're going to be in Toronto tomorrow night, they're going to be Teenage Head's going to be performing tomorrow night at the Great Hall, and of course Friday night Home Ice Advantage at the St. Hollywood with a great cast of people that are going to take the stage and sing Teenage Head songs. Manolis, you're going to even be working for Teenage Head that night.
On Friday.
On Friday.
Yeah. I have to say that because I remind myself.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to be.
So now, in your resume, you can say, "I've been employed by Teenage Head."
I got Teenage Head. Is I think no. I'm sorry. I was Forgotten Rebels when I got a BJ behind Corktown.
What?
Yeah. Not by them. No, I mean like by a girl. By a girl.
Yeah, Mickey, I got to talk to you.
While they were playing, I met this girl, and that has never happened to me before. Like that, it was like where it was just kind of happened. You know?
So did you say, "Hurry up, I want to go back before the song's over because I really like this song"? Or?
No, I totally forgot about the band at that point. I was just in the the weird woods right behind Corktown.
I know that little parkette.
Yeah. I was up on the hill there.
It's a Hamilton miracle.
I was making a baby. But
Yeah, but it didn't work.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Wow. Well, we're happy that the music of the Forgotten Rebels brings you happiness.
It does. I get a little. Anytime I hear a song from Forgotten Rebels, I get a little excited.
You think about that hot.
I think
August
about
night.
my walk in the woods.
Yeah. The nature. Manolis and Mickey DeSadist.
That'll be my first book.
Yeah. Walking the Woods with Mickey DeSadist.
Yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
412, folks. We're going to continue taking care of some business, looking after some requests that have been coming in. And you know what? It's really easy to do. Just go to Lose Control on Facebook, LOU''S Control, and tell us you want to be a friend and drop us a line and let us know what you want to hear. Just dedicated a couple of weeks ago. Here's some music from The Damned, a song called Dozen Girls on 93.3 CFMU. 93.3 CFMU, music from The Damned. Taking care of a request from Damned But Not Forgotten, a compilation. You heard a song called Dozen Girls. 4:17 exactly, as promised. An honor to introduce to you the gentleman on the phone right now, Mr. Jeff Pavir. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I'm well, Lou. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for taking time and talking to us this afternoon. Please say hello to Manolis and as well as Jordan, my two co-hosts for today.
Hello, Manolis, and hi, Jordan.
Hello.
Hey, man.
First of all, congratulations on writing this book, and it's amazing that there's a book that is long overdue on such an amazing band.
Oh, thank you.
How did it come together? When did you decide that it was time to write a book about Teenage Head?
Well, the writing of the book actually began just a little over a year ago. I was approached by Coach House Press in Toronto. An editor there by the name of Jason McBride was putting together a new series of books, short books, that were sort of to be written by authors about things they were particularly obsessed with. And without giving it really much thought at all, I thought of Teenage Head. And that, for me, the reason it came out so quickly is that I, like very many people, I know Lou included, in fact, is one of those people who saw the band way back. For me, it was probably 1978 in Ottawa, basement punk club called the Rotters Club. And I saw the band, and they never let go. I mean, they just kind of never let go. There was something in their performance. There was something in their songwriting craft. There was something in the fact that in the day, in order to go back and hear songs that were that good and lodged in your head and ran around like nesting squirrels, they weren't being played on the radio. You had to go and see the band again. And, of course, with Teenage Head, conveniently and graciously, they appeared over and over and over. So probably within the course of about a year and a half, I saw that band 15 to 20 times. And for the rest of my life, those songs continued to run around like nesting squirrels in my head. And I thought, if I stand a chance of setting those squirrels free, I'm going to have to write this book. Guess what? I've written the book, and the squirrels are still there. So there you go.
So it's a win-win situation, right?
Absolutely, yeah, for everybody. Yeah.
The amazing thing about it's a happy book, and what I mean by that is that for people who know the band and people who followed the band, there has been tragedy.
Yeah.
But it tells about how important and, how all the accolades, are measured. But one thing, and Gordy touched upon this yesterday when we were at Y108.
Yeah.
It's survival.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. And the thing is that, I as I was going through the story, and you do come across a fair amount of darkness. And it's darkness sometimes, obviously concerning, the outcome of the life of Frankie Venom, for example. But also given the fact that Teenage Head went through a very kind of tumultuous management history. There was Gord's accident in 1980. There were persistent questions of why this band that people look back on now and they see as being on the verge of international stardom, why didn't they make it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I lined all of those questions up, and yes, they're all good questions, and they are part of the story, but the fact is, the reason why we're here and we're talking about them today, and the reason why I wrote the book, is because their music, the intensity of their performance, the quality of what they did, their dedication, what they instilled in fans transcended all that stuff. And that's what we're writing about. That is what we're writing about. What we're writing about is a band that no matter what was thrown at them, no matter what was taken away from them, no matter how adverse the circumstances that were stacked against them, they still managed to hurdle over that with the sheer power of their music and their performance and the devotion that they instilled in fans. So I realized, you know what? The great thing is about it is without covering anything up, it is a happy story. It is a positive story because it's really kind of all about the fact that music, the right kind of music under the right kind of circumstances, played by the right band for the right people, can basically overcome all that stuff. And so that to me is as happy as it gets.
One of the pleasures about owning a bar and having a Teenage Head poster in our bar, and you'll see it Friday night, Jeff, is so many artists that come from other parts of the country, sometimes other parts of the world, don't know that Teenage Head is from Hamilton, but they'll ask a question. They'll say, "Hey, where'd you get that poster? And where are these guys from? They're hometown heroes." And it's just amazing to see. We had one of the guys that played for Rocky Erickson, who is originally in the Posies, the bass player, who basically bowed when he saw Gord Lewis. Seriously, he was like, "You have no idea what your music did to me." Peter Case raving about how when the Plimsolls opened up for the Ramones, Teenage Head was the only band that they listened to in their car stereo driving from city to city.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I know, and I've heard, and Sam Sutherland, the author of Perfect Youth, told me a story about when he was interviewing Duff McKagan.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and formerly of Guns N' Roses, and he mentioned to McKagan that he was working from Toronto. And first thing McKagan said was, "Well, didn't Teenage Head, weren't they from there or from near there?" Because that was the band that actually out on the West Coast, he lived in Seattle, but he would have seen them kind of in Vancouver. That was the band that inspired him to play too. So what we're talking about is really two kind of reputations here. There's the local reputation, but there is also the reputation that kind of made its way around the world, that kind of underground reputation that only quality itself can basically, travel, I think.
Another thing that's amazing about the book is that, aside from, I think a lot of the sort of cult status bands that have always been fans of Teenage Head, iconic Canadian artists such as Gord Downie, as well as Hugh Dillon, were really kind and generous and kind of explaining the importance of that band to them. When you're listening to guys like Downie and Dillon, did it just cement the fact even more that the story definitely had to be told?
Oh, absolutely. No. The thing is, I have to say that one of the things that kind of stunned me as I was working on the book and talking to people, Lou, and I constantly was asking myself the question, why hadn't anybody done this? Because everybody I spoke with who was a fan of the band, who had been inspired by the band, talked about them not only as, actually, they were kind of influential to me. They talked about them, I mean, like you have somebody like Hugh Dillon basically saying, John Kastner of the Doughboys, basically saying, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without this band. I wouldn't be doing it. Countless members of younger bands. So the fact is that, yes, it's amazing to me that it hadn't been done before. And you know what? It was time. It was high time, because the fact is that Teenage Head has coasted along on what I would call a kind of a sort of a mid-level, slightly sort of underground reputation for years and years and years. And that's been a powerful one. But no, it was time to do more. It was time to basically put that history down on the page, and hopefully what that'll do is provide some kind of a foundation for, I would like to see a more kind of concerted, concrete future for the band. There's a lot of music out there which hasn't been released. There's a lot of stuff which still has yet to be done, and I would love to see that done. I would like to see it now kind of bumped up to the level and say, okay, you guys have had 40 years now of semi-obscurity and cult fame. Now it's time for the real thing, you know.
No kidding.
Let's get them up there. And I know, Lou, because you have been an unbelievable supporter of the band over the years, a good friend of Gord Lewis, and This Ain't Hollywood has basically become the kind of, you know, Teenage Head International HQ. But I think you would agree that now it's time to basically kind of, let's get out of the basement. These guys, they began in the basement, they rehearsed in the basement, they played in a million different basement clubs. Mm-hmm. Now it's time to pull them out into the light. Okay, maybe not a statue in Victoria Park, maybe the time isn't right for that, mm-hmm. but there are still monuments we can build, and they need to be built for this incredible band.
One thing that I noticed as we were kind of, you know, getting our guests together is that, you know, as an experiment, we were trying to be diverse friendly, you know, by just asking different musicians and different bands as opposed to typically just going to the punks.
Right, yeah.
And it was amazing to hear everybody's positive response as how, you know, they were just itching to be part of it because they were true Teenage Head fans. So yeah. Max Kerman of the Arkells, Laurie Yates, you know, you're talking about all sorts of different people in different types of genres of music, as well as demographics that wanted to do it because they're true Teenage Head. And maybe one of the things that can push these guys out of the basement is the strength of the youth, recognizing Teenage Head and realizing how important they really are and how amazing their music is.
You know, it came up over and over and over again, and I'm glad you mentioned it. I mean, occasionally I would kind of have to, I mean, my shoulders would sag because somebody would say to me, you know, my dad played that music for me, right, that kind of stuff. But the fact is then I would pull my shoulders back up again because I would realize, you know what? What inspired me basically to do this is because I heard a song at some point in 1978. It was called Picture My Face. It installed itself in my pleasure centers in my brain, and it never let go. And I don't know how many thousands of times I've heard that song. It still works for me. What's amazing to me is that what you're telling me and what I discovered is that with young people today, when they hear music like that, it's still working. There's something timeless about it. We love to talk about punk. We love to look back at the 1970s, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact is what we're talking about is music that still lives and breathes and kicks righteous ass today. That's the most important thing. And I think that if Teenage Head is still inspiring people to listen and to play, that is all the more reason to say, you know what, it's time to lock the basement door before those guys slip back down into it, because, you know, the time has come to basically recognize not just what Hamilton has done in terms of the music that it let loose upon the world in those days and continues to, but the fact that, you know, and not just what Canada does, but to look back at that period and say, you know what, these guys were one of the best rock acts that basically ever took the stage. They happened to be from Hamilton. They happened to be from Canada. It happened to happen in 1978. But listen to this right now and tell me that this doesn't still work for you. That's the whole point.
There's magic to the music. Manolis, you had a question for Jeff.
My question is, you being a fan that you are, did you still have to do research? And if you did, was it a thing where it's like going down the rabbit hole where you'd start finding more and more things you didn't even know that blowing your mind? Or
I didn't do any research at all. I just made it all up.
It's a fictitious story.
I did the research with real enthusiasm, because I like the band, because as a journalist, I'm kind of, you know, when I'm let loose on something I'm interested in, my curiosity always leads me to kind of dig deeper. But also because I realized I loved the band, I loved the music, and I knew a little bit about the backstory, but I'd never really bothered to really dig into it. And I would say that, you know, sort of on my, you know, to in my defense, there weren't a lot of places to dig, right? Not a lot of history had been written. And in the past sort of 10 years, when you had the appearance of Liz Worth's oral history of punk in Toronto, Treat Me Like Dirt, then the appearance of Sam Sutherland's book, A Perfect Youth, then last year the appearance of Colin Brunton's movie, The Last Pogo Jumps Again, what we started to see is some kind of historical momentum, some kind of historical record was being established. And yes, lots of stuff surprised me. I was, and there's a large passage in the book that kind of deals with the rather intricate difficulties the band had with their manager Jack Morrow at one point, a figure who is highly ambivalent. On the one hand, basically he was somebody who many people claim was taking a lot of money from the band. He's also the other person who single-handedly took the band to the level where they played at Ontario Place and caused a riot, unprecedented in Canadian pop music. And so that was part of something which I didn't really know about that. But all the stuff that I learned, which I hadn't known about, to me only it made the story richer, but it also helped me to focus what I was talking about earlier, which is the reason why I'm writing the book, the reason why the music means so much for me, because I had to decide what to include and what not to include. It couldn't be a long book. That was the other thing, too, was going into it, I knew it was only to be about 140 pages long. That was I turned in a book that was probably 10,000 words longer than that, but I basically looked at it as an opportunity to basically know what narrative, what story I really wanted to tell. So yes, there's a Shadow Gods of the Hammer book, which is all the stuff I didn't include, but the stuff that I did include, I hopefully strengthened the story. And I think, mostly I think what I was very surprised by and impressed by was the simple dedication to the music and the band that these band members had. This story goes back to Gord Lewis in his basement at the age of 10, playing the Monkees on his record players over and over and over again and telling himself, I want to live in a band, right? And that was kind of magical to me because I realized, and quite sincerely, the whole thing that motivates Teenage Head is that 10-year-old desire to make great music. And, they're a little older than 10 right now, but at the core, that's the reason why they do it. And it was communicating that sort of sincere, childlike passion for great pop rock music that still makes them do what they do as well as they do today.
Were you at that Teenage Head Ontario Place show, Jeff?
I wasn't, actually. No, what was cool about it was that summer I was actually working in Ottawa. I was a university student. I'd seen the band tons of times by that point. That was national news. That was the thing that I thought was really cool. And I remember at that point thinking, wow, these guys, they're gonna do it. They're gonna be like, they're gonna be Canada's first world-class sort of punk band, and it didn't quite happen.
I was at that show.
Oh, wow.
I remember even going in, I skipped school that afternoon.
Good for you.
To go to, a few of us did. And what I remember and sensing that there was something weird, and it was kind of hard to really depict, but there was just sort of a weirdness amongst energies. You know how sometimes you kind of get a gut instinct? And I wasn't entirely sure what it was, but I just kind of sensed that something was going to happen. I don't know what it was. Like, it was either we were going to get busted for, having a wineskin or something else, but I knew something was going to happen. And then when the whole riot broke out, I remember being scared, but at the same point, just it was an excitement because I couldn't believe it, and I remember missing the last GO train. I lived in Oshawa, and at that time, GO trains only went to Pickering, and then we had to go from Pickering to Oshawa by bus service.
Right.
And I remember missing that last GO train to get back, and then hurrying up and grabbing the first GO train to go back to Oshawa, and my mom missing work because she was worried because she had already heard the following morning about this riot, and she's like, okay, my son didn't return home.
Yeah.
He was at that show last night. What the hell happened, right? So she stayed at home just to she took the day off just to yell at me.
I wasn't yelled at for that particular show, but I was yelled at for sort of like similar circumstances probably a few years earlier. I mean, I use it. You've read the book, but that day, June 2nd, 1980, which was actually happened to be Frankie's birthday.
Yeah.
It was his 23rd birthday.
Yeah.
The 24th birthday. But the thing is that I use that day and reconstructed that day, and I spent a lot of time kind of rebuilding that day and having that story told from a number of different perspectives, because in a way that day is the day where Teenage Head achieved their greatest notoriety. It's also the day that they played to the largest crowd ever. They would never play to a crowd that was quite that big again. They would never be the same kind of national news headline status. And the other thing that tends to get lost when people talk about that day is that for a lot of people, and including members of the band, not all of them, but for most members of the band, that it was also one of their finest performances. Bob Segarini, who opened with the Segarini band, tells me about how nervous Frank was that day, because Frank was fully aware that he was going to be playing. It was kind of a make-or-break show for him. He built a reputation as an intense showman in the clubs. This was where he was basically going to show a large crowd of people that he could do it. Gordy was quiet as usual and was worried about his equipment and whether or not the amplifiers were going to come across and all that kind of stuff. But the thing was that there was an awareness on the part of the band, not of what was going on outside. They didn't know. That was also really interesting. They didn't know, in some cases, until the next day, Lou, what had happened, because they couldn't see what was going on. But
right.
The fact is that reconstructing that day became kind of really, really important, because that is a kind of an instrumental hinge point in the Teenage Head story.
It's like before June 2nd and after June 2nd, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And the thing is that after June 2nd, it's easy to say, okay, that's when things went bad for them. No, I don't really think it is. I mean, the thing is that, and I also try to deal with this in as much detail as the length of the book permitted, which is kind of there were a number of circumstances which kind of prevented the guys from being what a lot of us expected they would be. And they weren't circumstances that were in any way simple, and it wasn't any one person's fault. And it wasn't because people were making mistakes. There was maybe misjudgments, but as I've said, and I've gone back over this, and some of it, frankly, has been painful going, to talk to the band members about this and what seemed like a missed opportunity. And what I've constantly been struck by and shared with them is, you guys are 19, 20, 21 years old. Who's going to be making rational adult decisions at that point, especially when fame comes rushing at you like a freight train, and all you've wanted to do since you were 10 years old is make music and be in a band. The decisions that you are going to make are not always going to be the best decisions. And as Nick Stepanitz told me many years later, as he's come to terms with what happened with the band and what didn't happen with the band, is he's realized that in some cases waiting this long for that kind of notoriety is in fact more significant, because, as he put it to me, sometimes it's best not to run with the herd. Sometimes those are the horses that live the longest.
Right. If there's one thing that you could really say that as a true music fan you really learned about Teenage Head with this experiment and this whole experience of writing a book about Teenage Head, what would that be, Jeff?
I think it would be, and I'm not a musician, I'm a fan, but I think it would be, what I understood about musicians is that I do understand it from the point of view of being, I think of being a writer, Lou. That's where it applies to me, which is that if you need to do it, if you have no choice but to do it, if you're that 10-year-old Gord Lewis in a basement and you hear something that to you represents, your life falls into place when you hear that song, when you hear that music, and you need to do it, you will do it. You may not succeed at it, you may not become world famous, but that is when you have the kind of musical version of a calling, and you answer it. That was the thing I really understood, was that, the thing about these guys in Teenage Head is they had no choice but to be what they were, and that is why they were what they were so effectively, because there was no pretense about it. There was no artifice. There was no kind of let's dress up and be punks. It was all about the music. That was the thing that I learned, is that if you are destined to do it because you have no choice, you need to do it, you will do it. And that's what these guys have done.
It was a no-brainer for me to obviously support the book because it was about Teenage Head. But
right.
One thing that really impressed me about this was how passionate you were, Jeff. And I think, all of us Teenage Head fans are very, very lucky that this book was written from the point of view of a Teenage Head fan and not so much just a person that took this on as a project.
Well, thank you, Lou. Thank you. I do have to say that sometimes striking a balance between that enthusiasm and maintaining a kind of responsibility to telling an objective story.
Oh, you totally kept the game face on.
Well, yeah, and hopefully I walked that line. But at the end of the day, no, I am just a raging, crazy, insane Teenage Head fan. Don't tell anybody. Just between you and I and everybody else now.
You know, Ian Hunter had this great title many years ago on one of his records, and it's Old Records Never Die.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You know, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that too, because of course Ian Hunter and Mott the Hoople were also one of those bands without which we would not have had Teenage Head. And yeah, I'm in no way ashamed of being a fan. I just didn't want that to get in the way of kind of like, because to me it was very important that you tell a balanced story, you tell an accurate story, and if you can tell the truth and yet not even the truth can kind of in any way corrupt your passion for the band or corrupt the beauty of the music itself, then I think, okay, I can live with the truth.
Well, we thank you for taking the time and writing this book, because it's, you know, it's long overdue, but it's just such a great thing to be proud of, as well as to add to the T section of our music collection.
Thank you so much, Lou. I appreciate your time and everything that you have done for this book and especially for this band.
I will see you tomorrow morning, sir.
You bet.
We're going to say goodbye to you by playing a song that changed your life.
Okay.
Picture My Face?
I'm all set. I'll be listening.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks so much.
Here's
Bye-bye.
Teenage Head on 93.3 CFMU. .93.3 CFMU, music there of the incredible Teenage Head. From Frantic City, you heard Infected. Okay, this is how goofy of a fan I am. That's always been one of my favorite guitar solos, right? The extra leading out of that song. I remember as a kid timing it to see how long that guitar solo is, and to this day I still know it's 1 minute and 38 seconds.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
That is a super fan.
Drugs don't even do that kind of stuff to you, folks. Before that, from Head Disorder, you heard their rendition of the Boys' classic, First Time, and you heard Picture My Face from the incredible debut of Teenage Head, and we send that out to Jeff Pavir, the gentleman responsible for writing Gods of the Hammer, and we thank him for doing such a great job and caring about the band. You can get your books in Hamilton by visiting Dr. Disc as well as Cheapies. Jeff is going to do a meet and greet on Friday between 3 and 4 at Dr. Disc on Friday afternoon. So as I mentioned to him off air, I'm going to be hanging out with him. I'm going to be like a rash to him. You know, ointment. What ointment?
Can I be the cream?
No such thing, man.
All right.
This is like this is
embedded.
Like thicker than being thicker in the skin, you know. But anyways, yeah. So Friday night, folks, Teenage Head, as I said on Facebook, starring in the Gods of the Hammer. There is no opening act. So basically, our friend Andrea Rehill is going to spin music, and then Teenage Head's taking the stage. And folks, you want to be there. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but if you're going to be there, you're going to see something pretty amazing, and you have to be there. If you can't see them in Hamilton on Friday night, then I encourage you to go see them Thursday night at the Great Hall, 1067 Queen Street West in Toronto, and you can get more information if you go on Facebook. The poster's floating all over the world right now, and you can get all the info by taking a look at the poster for Thursday night as well as Friday night. Advance tickets are on sale through the CMW link that you can get through the website as well. For the Friday night show, you can get tickets through This Ain't Hollywood, thisAintHollywood.ca, Cheapies, as well as Dr. Disc. Manolis!
But hey,
what did you want to talk about?
I want to say our buddy, Jamie Ryan Downey.
Yeah, the actor.
The actor. The musician from, he's in that band No Shoes, One Sock. You know him?
Yeah.
Okay, don't look, why you look at me? I'm crazy. Just like, I'm waiting for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wanted me to promote a show.
The 10th anniversary of the Factory Media Center happening May 9th. This Friday night, which is, by the way, art crawl along James Street. So Jeff is going to see this whole city just up, beautiful. It's happening at 228 James Street North in Hamilton. It is a 10th anniversary. Local favorites, Young Rival.
Are
on the bill.
Are playing.
Yeah.
And
visuals by Dima Matar as well as Reg Moore, or unless you put a long G and go Reg Moore. How do you pronounce that? Reg or Reg?
I'm going to say Reg.
Good answer.
I'm a gambling man. So tickets are $10, and they're available at Dr. Disc and Cheapies, I guess. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And probably at the Factory Art Center too.
So the
Media Center.
Young Rivals this Friday, right?
Yep.
And what's the name of the place again?
The Factory Media Center.
Okay. So what time's the show at?
9 o'clock.
8
o'clock. 8 o'clock to midnight.
Okay.
8 o'clock to midnight.
Yeah. Go to that show.
If you can't get into the Teenage Head show. No, of course. Actually, you know what? All kidding aside, there's so many cool things happening. Steve Strongman's playing. The Factory Art Center is, or the Factory, I keep saying Factory Art Center. The Factory Media Center is celebrating their 10th anniversary. Gives us a good time to start doing some plug-in here for the Hamilton Spectator. If you want to get some cool best bets and read some good stories on shows that are happening, visit the best bet section or read Graham Rockingham's articles. If you prefer the hard copy, check out the Go section. If you'd like to read it online, check out the What's On section through thespec.com. And, of course, viewmag.com. Read our friend Rick Taylor's article, Hamilton Music Notes, as well as checking out the listings in the back for all the coolest shows that you want to support. What?
Nothing.
You're doing this thing with the finger.
I'm waiting. I do this because I got. If I don't, I'll forget what I'm going to say.
Yeah. You're not even finished that sandwich.
I'm going to finish it.
Okay.
Old married couple.
Thank you.
You're not the only one that said that.
So,
do you think we're married?
No.
No, we're not. Okay.
No,
I don't want to be.
We don't
married
have
to you.
sex, so maybe.
Okay.
Even that argument right there seemed like a married couple. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I don't.
It's always what?
You know what it is? It's like my one day a week where I get the kid.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what it's like. It's not married. It's like father and kid.
You have to teach them lessons, life lessons.
Yes. Anyways, what do you want to say? Patrick Coppolino is in Toronto at Yuck Yucks this Saturday night.
Saturday with opening up for Tom Green.
Great.
Go to yuckyucks.com for Tom Green tickets. It'll be a great show. But amateur night, I'll be on the show. Patrick Coppolino is emceeing the show at Yuck Yucks Hamilton. And what else?
Tomorrow there's
Mace Coloni's doing a show.
Yeah, at Shenanigans in Hamilton. A bunch of us are telling jokes on that. It's at 9 o'clock.
And anything you want to promote?
Yeah, your own show. Fridays between 3 and 4 here on CFMU. And I'm sorry, what's the name of it again?
The Hamilton Comedy Hour.
Beauty. Will you come back and hang out with us on another Wednesday?
For sure. I would love to.
Next Wednesday?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
That'd be awesome. Thanks.
Folks, as we say goodbye to you, we're going to spin some music from Robin Hitchcock. We'll see you at the shows, and we'll be here next Wednesday as well. Take care.